You are born by dying. There is no ceremony to it, no meaning assigned at first. One moment you are alive, ordinary, unremarkable, carrying small regrets and half-finished dreams like everyone else. The next, your body fails, your breath stops, and the world keeps moving without you. No legacy, no closure, just an ending that feels far too small for a life that never got to stretch. Then something happens that should not. You wake up again, but not into warmth or light or comfort. You wake up in silence so complete it presses against you. You cannot breathe, yet you are not suffocating. You cannot see, yet you are aware. You cannot feel a body, yet you exist. Panic flares instantly, sharp and animal, because existence without form is terror distilled. You realize you are alone in a way humans never are. No heartbeat, no skin, no face to touch, no voice to scream with. Your mind scrambles to make sense of it, and the only thing it can cling to is logic. You think, you analyze, you narrate your own fear just to prove you are still there. Somewhere in the darkness, a presence answers, not a god, not a savior, but a function. A system that listens, calculates, and responds with brutal efficiency. It gives you power, not out of kindness, but because power is the only thing you have left to anchor yourself to existence. You discover what you are by accident, a mass without shape, a predator without hunger. A being whose identity is defined not by what it is, but by what it can take. Every interaction with the world is an act of consumption. To understand something, you must absorb it. To grow, you must erase something else. Your first movements are clumsy, almost pitiful. You slide, you fumble, you experiment with your surroundings like a child learning to crawl. The world reacts to you cautiously, as if it cannot decide whether you are alive or a mistake. You learn quickly that you are fragile in ways strength cannot fix. One misstep could mean dissolution. One wrong encounter could mean the end, final this time. Fear becomes your first companion. Not the sharp fear of imminent death, but the slow, gnawing kind that whispers that you do not belong anywhere. You are not meant to exist like this. You are an error that happened to survive its own deletion. And yet, you adapt. You gain abilities at a pace that should feel empowering, but each one comes with an unspoken cost. Every new skill pushes you further away from anything familiar. You are less human with every improvement, less anchored to the rules that once governed your life. You remember being someone with a name, with habits, with small joys, but those memories blur as your mind restructures itself to handle what you are becoming. You build a body eventually, a shape that can speak and walk and smile. It feels like reclaiming something precious, but is only a costume. Beneath it, you are still something else, something that could dissolve itself and reform without pain or blood. Something that can survive where no life should. People meet you and feel at ease. You are kind, you listen, you laugh easily, you help without demanding payment. They project warmth onto you because warmth is what you offered. They do not see the calculations running beneath every interaction, the constant assessment of threat and consequence, the quiet awareness that if things go wrong, you could end them without effort. You become a leader, not because you crave authority, but because chaos gathers around power, and you have too much of it to ignore. Communities form under your protection. Nations rise because you exist. Every decision you make reshapes lives by the thousands, sometimes by the millions. You try to be careful, but there is no instruction manual for godhood, especially when you never asked for it. Mistakes haunt you in silence. When you fail, people die. When you succeed, people worship. Neither feels deserved. Praise slides off you like water because it is aimed at an image, not the truth. Guilt sinks deep because you know exactly how fragile everything around you is, how easily one misjudgment could turn salvation into annihilation. You grow stronger to prevent that. Strength becomes responsibility. Responsibility becomes obligation. Obligation becomes a cage with golden bars. You cannot step away, cannot rest, cannot pretend the world would be fine without you. It would not. You have seen the numbers. You have simulated the outcomes. Too many futures end in ruin if you stop paying attention. So you stay awake. Your mind expands to hold more information than any single being should. Thoughts layer over thoughts. Processing speeds increase. Awareness widens. You can perceive threats continents away, sense shifts in power before they manifest. This should make you feel secure. Instead, it leaves you exhausted in a way sleep cannot fix. You are always on. Your companions change over time. Mortals age, spirits fade, allies fall in battle or drift away, unable to keep pace with what your life demands. You smile and encourage them, telling them it is fine, that this is natural. But every farewell leaves a hollow space that never quite fills. You learn to make room for absence, stacking losses neatly so they do not collapse you all at once. Immortality is not a blessing, it is an accumulation. You remember everyone, their voices, their habits, the way they stood when they were nervous, the jokes they told too often. You remember them long after the world forgets they ever existed. Time erodes civilizations, but your memory preserves their ghosts with perfect clarity. There is no mercy in forgetting. Power isolates you further the more you wield it. Conversations become guarded, disagreements soften into obedience. Even those who care about you hesitate, knowing that a careless word could ripple into consequences they cannot predict. You crave honesty, but honesty fears you. You try to remain gentle. You try to solve conflicts without force, but the world learns quickly that you are a final answer. When diplomacy fails, they look to you. When monsters rise, they expect you to stand in front. When the impossible appears, your name becomes a prayer. Every victory reinforces the myth, and myths do not get to be people. Your existence distorts balance. Powers awaken in response to you. Threats escalating not because the world grows crueler, but because it must match you. You are a gravitational pull for catastrophe. Peace around you is always temporary, always waiting for the next challenge to justify your strength. You wonder sometimes if the world would be safer without you. That thought terrifies you more than any enemy, because it suggests that your life, all the lives you protect, all the bonds you have formed, might be contingent on your continued suffering. That the role you play requires you to endure endless conflict so others can have quiet days you will never fully share. You do not age, not in any meaningful way. Your form remains youthful, adaptable, unmarked by time. Meanwhile, the seasons pass, generations rise and fall. History becomes a spiral you watch from the center, unchanged while everything else erodes. You become a reference point, a legend that stretches backward and forward simultaneously. Children grow up hearing stories about you. Adults invoke your name in fear or hope. Scholars debate your nature. None of them understand what it feels like to carry eternity in a single consciousness. You question your identity often. Are you the person you once were, clinging to remnants of humanity out of nostalgia? Or are you something entirely new, pretending at normalcy because the alternative is too alien to face? The answer shifts depending on the day, and that uncertainty gnaws at you more than any physical threat. There are moments of happiness, quiet meals, laughter shared with trusted companions, small celebrations where you can almost forget the weight of your existence. But even in those moments, a part of you remains vigilant, listening for danger, calculating outcomes, preparing for the moment peace shatters. It always does. You cannot escape escalation. Each resolved crisis reveals a larger one behind it, like peeling layers from an infinite room. You adapt, evolve, overcome, and the cycle continues. The ceiling never appears. There is always another level, another form, another burden waiting just beyond your current limits. You realize slowly and painfully that your greatest strength is also your trap. You can become anything, survive anything, adapt to any threat. So the world will always find something new to throw at you. There is no final battle, no end state where you can finally rest and say it is over. Existence becomes maintenance. You are feared by enemies and revered by allies, but truly understood by no one. Even those closest to you can only grasp fragments of what you carry. How could they? They live finite lives. Their pain has edges, yours does not. You are patient, endlessly so, because impatience costs lives. You are compassionate because cruelty would make you exactly what the world fears. You are restrained because unrestrained power would erase everything you are trying to protect. Every day you choose to keep going. Not because it is easy, not because it is rewarding, but because stopping would mean abandoning a world that has quietly reshaped itself around your presence. A world that depends on you more than it should. That is the cruelty of being born as you. You did not ask for power. You did not choose responsibility. You did not consent to eternity. You simply survived once, and the universe decided that was enough to make you indispensable. So you smile, you negotiate, you protect, you endure. And somewhere deep within, beneath the layers of ability and duty and legend, a small, quiet part of you wonders what it would feel like to be allowed to end.